Welcome to Global Morning.
Death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure. Incidentally, we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rate as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call the police station, before they even leave, they take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
the struggle, the ASU strike.
Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a life. The president never gave me any deadline.
2.2% inflation rate as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call the police station, before they even leave, they take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
the struggle, the ASU strike.
Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a life. The president never gave me any deadline.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure. Incidentally, we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rate as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call the police station, before they even leave, they take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
the struggle, the ASU strike.
Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a life. The president never gave me any deadline.
It's a beautiful day right here. Blessed morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us on Global Morning this beautiful day. This is another wonderful day again for us to bring you to speed with happenings around the world. Tag Team Monday, right here. You know how it is every Monday. This is another time again for us to add our voice to different conversations around the world. And as a matter of fact, my colleague is right here, and this is a Monday morning, and you know how it happens on Monday morning. My name is Ramsey Enoch, and of course, we are here to set the pace. One of the things we don't fail to do every Monday is to help you get your week started on a beautiful note. It's good to have you in the building this morning, and of course, as it is, I want you to know that as a matter of fact, so many things are happening in Nigeria right now, and we will be looking at a few of them before we take you to the national dailies, then also the conversations for the day. It is another wonderful time for the Tag Team Monday to get you on your feet, as it has to do with the latest current affairs news. In fact, a bit of entertainment, as a matter of fact. Good morning, Jumai.
Good morning, Ramsey Enoch. How are you doing today? It's a beautiful Monday morning, and of course the weekend. Everyone, of course, we do not have weekends, but all the same, it's great to be here. It's a beautiful Monday morning. I am Jumai Manson, and thank you all for allowing us to grace your TV screen this beautiful day. And of course, Ramsey has been saying that it's a platform where it's news, current affairs, and all the good stuff combined, and a lot of happenings making round. And we cannot get over we can't stop talking about Natasha right now. I want you to delve into that because I showed you something this morning.
Well, the issue of Natasha, like a joke, you know, over the weekend, I was going through some of the interviews she had, especially the one she had on one of the TV stations, where the presenter was busy asking her, do you have evidence? Because that conversation was filled with a lot of allegations.
A lot.
You know, how calls were made, how she first of all made a call to some media houses to say, well, there's going to be a recall. I'm going to be recalled. There's a meeting going on right now to recall me. And questions was asked. How are you sure? How are you sure? And the media houses, you know, so we are very professional. The media houses, the broadcast organizations are very, very professional. And she said, she attested to the fact that those media houses said there are no evidences to your claim. So we can't publish it, because she felt well, it is a rumor. It's a meeting that was going on.
Yeah, that's true.
If the outcome of the meeting is being preemptive before they even finish the meeting, if it goes round, whatever it is they want to do could be averted.
True.
And the media houses told her, no, we can't do that. There are no substantial evidence.
Yeah, there's a procedure for all of
There's
this.
a procedure for all of this, and we can't just do that.
That's very true.
And a few days later, the recall process started. And she said she actually reached out to the media houses to say, you see what I told you. But then she gave kudos to the media houses because you don't just hear something without evidence and investigation.
Exactly.
When you go into publishing it, it's not done. Then the issue of Natasha saying, well, first of all, a call was put to the governor of Kogi State.
The former governor, Yahaya Bello.
To give my recall, no, Ododo himself.
Okay, Ododo himself.
Then, according to her, she said Ododo rejected, the call of the Senate president, according to what Natasha said. Then the Senate president, according to her, called the former governor, Yahaya Bello, and Yahaya Bello got back to his successor. And you know how it is between Yahaya Bello and Ododo.
Of course.
So Ododo had no option than to begin the process. And according to what it's been alleged, that the people who actually signed the recall petition were not from her constituency.
Very true.
As it's been claimed. It's been alleged that some persons actually endorsed that recall.
Very true.
Who are not members of her constituency.
True.
And she said, well, left for her, that INEC have thrown away the recall, that they would have done that right from the beginning.
Very
because
true.
The process was not a clean one, according to what Natasha
said, allegedly.
And I was surprised to see Natasha on the New York Times. New York Times is that's the one you sent to me.
It's one of the biggest newspaper platform in America. Even Trump is scared.
The whole world, you know.
The New York Times is big.
New York Times is big. So for Natasha's case to appear, and you will not want to know what the headline of that paper is. You will not want to know at all. You don't want to know what the headlines of that paper is. And so I think for me, this is a case been taken too far. This is an issue that we can actually resolve back home in Nigeria.
Very true.
I could remember the last time I spoke with Natasha's lawyer, he was saying the same thing Natasha said on that program is the same thing he said. Natasha's lawyer had told me, in fact, we hosted him on one of our program on Global Morning, and he said, well, it's not in a bid to bring down the Senate president, that whatever it is that is going on is just for someone to get justice. And Natasha said the same thing. He said, no, I am not, all what I'm saying is I need justice, and I need to be free in the house to be able to do what I want to do, and not to be victimized. Allegedly, she said she's been victimized. She's not been given the right to speak. You know, and of course, her constituency is suffering it, and she couldn't keep quiet anymore because she was asked, "Why would you bring the issue of seat?" And it was just about sitting position. What's it all about? And she said, "Well, if it is because Ned Nwoko moved, you know, he defected, and his seat was declared vacant, not vacant, but his position where he sits. Nobody was sitting there because he had to shift to where the people of the party are."
Of course.
And she said, if it is to move where Ned Nwoko was sitting, is very, very okay. Why not move me to where Ned Nwoko was sitting? He said, you took me back and all of that. Well, all that being said and done, I think the bottom line is this case shouldn't go further. Everyone should just hide their hatchet, you know, bury their grievances, and let's move forward, because most times it's all about the system and not the individual, like the Senate president said. Saraki said it.
Yes,
and
truly.
a lot of other presidents, even you said it, that well, it's all about the system.
It's all about the system.
Integrity to
yes,
protect.
we do.
And you know how it is in the global world map right now.
And then just to add to what you've said, Ramsey, now looking at this particular case critically, for me, I think it's not going away very soon. It's not going as soon as we think. But now taking it to the international shores, now that is taking it overboard. She has done it before when the meeting that occurred and all of that. But the thing is, what about the integrity of Nigeria now? individuals out there know that, of course, Nigerians are, in quote and unquote, when it comes to politics, there is corruption and all of that. So now it just shows that it is true with all of this that is happening. So we just hope that, as I feel, it's not going away soon. When this issue came up, I told someone, I said, do you think it's the issue of seats that is making her act in this volume? It cannot be. It's just transfer of aggression. She just felt that she has just been suppressed in the house as a woman, and then, of course, then we started hearing the case of the allegedly of sexual harassment, the abuse that took place. But at the same time, there's a way that you can pass your message and you will not look wrong in the eyes of individuals. I think some female activists have come out to say that, hey, okay, I think she's going over, but prominent individuals who are women of elites have come out to say, okay, listen. Some members, some senators even said, when you're in the house, you don't look at yourself as there's no gender. We're all male as far as it's concerned.
I think sometimes he who wear the shoe know where it bites.
Truly.
Know where it's hurting.
But
as a matter of fact, you have said it.
Yes.
There is no woman in the chamber. If you get to the red chamber, there is no woman. It's not all about gender. It's all about what brought you there.
Exactly.
But I think what Natasha is saying in essence is beyond just the National Assembly. But then whatever it is, I think what we are saying is everything, it's all about power play right now. Because sometimes it's not very easy, okay, for some fathers to say, I'm sorry. You know what I'm talking about.
Well, the truth is, for peace to reign, sometimes, okay, even if I understand the African mentality, because it happens, in Africa, or let's say, or will I say in Nigeria, some fathers find it, not all. Some fathers find it hard to apologize to their children. They find it very hard. But there's a stylish way you can go about it. It's very easy. When our parents want to say, I'm sorry, have you eaten? Go and take that drink that's the way they say they are sorry. So there's always a stylish way to go about this. If you feel, oh gosh, okay, fine, I'm the Senate President, I think I am too big to apologize to you because for what you have done, it has shown that you have disrespected me, my office, and all of that. But there's a way that you can draw her close stylishly and she'll know that, okay, this is his way of saying I am sorry. There's always a way around these things than for it to escalate and blow up out of proportion.
There's an aggrieved daughter.
Yes.
Your daughter is aggrieved right now.
But there's a stylish way to go about it.
There's a way to go about
There's a way.
So, gosh. Like the Senate President has not been speaking. But, his aides and people around him have been speaking. And it's so unfortunate. I don't know whether to say it's unfortunate that all the senators are not behind. No single senator is behind Natasha.
You cannot be. This is the truth is no one. You'll be
just because the action is gone overboard.
It has gone overboard, and for goodness sake, Ramsey, of course, this is all about the Senate President. It doesn't, you see, loyalty, exactly, and this is where loyalty comes in. It doesn't matter, this is the mentality now, it doesn't matter whether he's right or wrong. There are some persons that might not agree with the Senate President, but because of the loyalty behind all of that, they will never come out to say in public you are wrong, but behind closed doors, definitely they'll tell him you're wrong.
But it's even wrong to tell an elder to his face
exactly
that they are wrong. But there's a way to go about all.
There's a way, and not to portray it.
What we're saying, we're not trying to justify.
No, not at all.
What we're saying is the right thing should be done, and there are ways and means to
go about it.
Every situation.
Exactly.
So that's what
the truth is, loyalty is loyalty.
Loyalty is loyalty.
Loyalty is loyalty.
If you're not loyal, you know what
that's the truth. Exactly. And let's be realistic. It's just like, I'm just giving an instance. It's just like the president now, and then someone comes out and says, it's not like America that people, they will go do their finding. This is Nigeria. We are loyal. We know what is respect. We have norms. We have values. We know how to respect people in power, even if it's lip service and eye service, just to get that persona. Let him look at us and know that we are loyal to that person. So that is how it is. Let's not pretend about it.
All right, let's move away from the issue of Natasha and take you straight to Kano State.
Exactly.
There is, a lot of dust being raised by the invitation of the IG, to the Emir of Kano State, talking about Sanusi, who has been invited.
My favorite person in the world.
By the IG.
Really?
You have to leave Kano State, come to Abuja for that questioning.
Exactly.
You know how these things happen, how people hold traditional rulers at a very high esteem.
Yes.
Well, gone are the days where traditional rulers actually dictate for the politicians. But right now, because he who plays the viper
there's the tune.
because of one or two things, the voice of the traditional leaders are not as high and respected in some quarters, like it used
unfortunately.
to be. And that invitation has raised a lot of doors. Some persons are saying, why questioning what's happening? But if you look at what is happening in Kano State, well, it has not been so easy for Kano State.
No, it hasn't.
And you know, when it comes to Kano State and politics in Nigeria, sometimes when election is going on, people ask you who is leading in Kano State, because Kano have a very large population.
True.
I'm not talking about, I know someone will be saying, what population are you talking about? Is it because it's been alleged that some teenagers, people who are underage, voted, and pictures making round on social media? That's not what I'm talking about. But the fact is that the ancient city of Kano have a very large number, a very large population. And of course, anything that happens from there is not being taken likely by politicians, and it is good for peace to reign in Kano State. Kano State is an NNPP party, as a matter of fact, and you know what's happening. APC is trying to break into every party in Nigeria.
Very true. Very
Look at
true.
what happened in Anambra State. That election is supposed to be in November, and primary is happening now.
Exactly.
And see the kind of things that is happening.
Exactly.
Just for people who are supposed to vote in the primaries, you know, in Anambra State here. But then, I'm just waiting. We are keeping our fingers crossed.
Really?
INEC said something. They said, well, with what happened in Edo State, we've learned. From Edo State, we went to Ogun State. And every other election that are, the bicycle election that has taken place, now it is Anambra State, and it's taking a different turn, even though ABGA is returning their governor. They said, well, we are still fielding you in the next election come November. And that's what they told the former CBN governor, who is now the governor of Anambra State. Well, let's see how all of that will go. But very beautiful. Nigerians are still waiting for the charges to be reduced. Talking about the bank charges.
Really?
Are you sure anything is still going to be done about it?
You know the thing about Nigeria, once you start something, it's very hard to, especially when it has to do with money, tariff, favorable to some individuals, it is really hard to top it down a notch, to just bring it down or say it's going to be really hard, Ramsey. I'm telling you, it's going to be really, because we've started already and people have started heading to it. Before it even came out, one of the telecos company, they already, before it was even approved, they already started. So you can even imagine. So that's it. So you think, because Nigerians have started ahead, whether you like it or not, you have to pay the charges.
But it's so painful that this thing is all side. You know, see, you're paying for the telcos, the tariff for telco is high.
Yes.
You get to the bank, it is high.
Exactly.
You get to the automated teller machine.
Oh, yes, it is high.
To the point of sale, it
is high. So where do you go?
I don't know.
You just have to.
It's so funny that they are. If you're using a POS, they are charging the POS. And they are
charging you. Yes, it's true.
Where is this money going to?
Where is this money going to?
The little that Nigerians have.
You know, it's really sad.
The economy is being taken away.
And it's just unfortunate, and that's why people complain a lot when it comes to taxation. You know, when your take-home pay at the end of all of these things,
what they are even doing now is that taxes are being reduced, removed from source these days. Whatever you do, you go to the mall, you buy something, tax is inclusive. You get your recharge card, taxes inclusive.
Very
You
true.
buy your data, taxes inclusive. There is barely nothing the average Nigerian do that they don't deduct tax. But
Exactly.
what about these people with luxurious cars parked in their houses? Are they not supposed to be paying taxes?
They'll tell
What
you.
about these people who own estates everywhere? Are they
Private
paying
jets,
taxes?
are they paying
Are they paying
taxes?
taxes?
No, this is food for thought, and you just wonder and you ask whether the system is being fair to the middle class when it comes to the high class. There's always someone will tell you, no, Juma, it's all the same. We all pay the same tax. For goodness sake, we're in band A and there's band B, there's band C. But at the same time, if you look at it clearly, a lot of people are going through a lot. And then the take home at the end of the day is nothing to write home about, just like what Ramsey has just said. Taxes every single time, whatever purchase you make, there is always a tax. But really, officials really need to look deep into this and see how there can be a balance, some sort of way to create that rest for individuals out there. It's just unfortunate this is what it is, Ramsey.
Take homes don't take people home
No,
anymore.
it doesn't take people home anymore.
Take homes, what they call take home these days doesn't take people home anymore.
Sadly.
And sometimes I sit back to ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to our labor laws? Do you know that there are some organizations? Someone spoke to me a few days ago how a private organization implemented the minimum wage even before the federal government started
Very
implementing
true.
it.
Very true.
So we still have some CEOs, some MDs, some business owners who are actually doing the right thing while others are doing just what they want because they feel they are helping you. Whereas you're working and you're getting paid for it. As a matter of fact, a worker is worthy of his wages. But then I wonder why some organizations have not implemented the minimum wage and the labor law. I don't know who is even asking questions if these private individuals are following the labor law. How about staff welfareism? You know, a lot happening in Nigeria today. Sometimes you just be tempted to say it's as if the law is for certain
People, like I mentioned.
like you mentioned. But then I think we need to do the right thing so that we can move this nation forward. National development, very important. A minimum wage should be implemented across the board.
Across-
Congratulations to the core members.
Yes,
who are now-
exactly. Yes, exactly. Congratulations to core members. But away from the Nigerians, let's talk about Donald Trump a little bit before we quickly go on our break. Talking about this gold card that has to do with your residence stay, the gold card. You read about that, right?
In fact, I think
I'm shocked.
see.
Trump will never surprise me.
Something
He will
is-
never.
I'm amazed at a particular thing.
What?
The protests going on. There are Americans. What Donald Trump came to the table with is Americans first.
Exactly.
Policy.
Uh-huh.
You know, if you ask him till tomorrow, he will tell you it is all about Americans
America,
first.
the Americans
But then the
first.
same Americans are on the street protesting, right?
Exactly, that they are not happy with all of these
With all of
policies.
this.
Are you kidding
See,
me?
Let me tell you the truth. There are some things that Americans can never do for themselves.
Never.
These people you're chasing away that they are immigrants and all of that, they are the ones doing most of the job.
And some of the immigrants who are Africans are making Americans really happy.
That's why
Making
some
them
people are
happy.
in the streets to protest what is going on.
Exactly.
Because the executive orders, the laws, the regulations, the policies are no longer going down well with some Americans.
with some
Even though they say
Americans.
Americans first.
Exactly.
The same Americans you're saying them first are the ones not comfortable with some of the policies. So
True.
why not? You're a president. Go to the drawing board.
Go to the drawing board.
It's not about you if you say it's all about
No,
Americans.
it's not about
Back
you.
to the drawing board. Withdraw some of the executive orders. Whatever the people say they don't like, you withdraw it. Everyone was happy when you said, well, the two genders are recognized in the United States is the male and the female. Whatever else gender you want to think about, it's none of my business.
But I laugh. But the truth is, of course, when it comes to that aspect, he has made a
He
valid
did very
point.
well. He did
A
very
valid
well.
point. But when it comes to immigrants and all of that, and of course, the United States is all about the home of the free. It's a freedom. It's a land for the free, for anyone to come and make a living and make the best out of life. And then when you see immigrants who have been in the U.S. for almost 40 years, who have done so much for themselves, and you tell them, hey, because you do not have your papers, you have to go back. Some of them are grandparents who married and all of that. But it's just you want to destabilize families, a lot of things. Are you kidding me? No, please.
let's call spade a spade.
40
How would
years.
you stay in a place for 40 years and you don't have your paper?
But let me tell you the truth, Ramsey.
40
It has,
years.
you see, that's like an oversight. Sometimes you're just
You
too
just get used
comfortable.
to the
The
system
system,
and
like,
forget about
as long as things are working
Oh my
out,
God.
things are working out.
They should be given preference. Please allow them to do their papers now. They want to do
Please.
it. Donald Trump, please allow them to do their papers now.
Very
They
important.
know it is all their fault. But then, if you're operating a good system and you want to put Americans first,
Very
and
true.
people are assisting Americans to earn a good living.
Exactly.
So you should give them preference. They will do the papers, okay?
Yes.
But the tariff thing, man, I don't want to talk about that one, sir.
Okay, but the truth of the matter is,
tariff thing.
let's look at this very critically. Who are going to do the menial jobs? It's the immigrants are the ones that feed in the farms. You know, when it comes to crops and all of that, it's not the high class Americans that will do that. They prefer to golf, you know, play the tennis and all of that. But you see, immigrants are really working hard and they're not complaining. So what's your own?
No, I think as a president, just like someone will tell you and come and tell you that Abuja have a plan. Abuja have a plan and we must follow the plan.
Really?
I think that's the same thing happening. There are procedures, there are ways things are being done over there. It's not like where we are, you know, whatever they do there, they follow it to the latter. I
Exactly.
United States
Of course.
on Saturday, and he said something. Because we're talking about the insecurity situation in Nigeria. This is a place where you can even leave your house if you forget to close your door.
And
You don't need to panic. There's no need rushing home to go and because the security there, everyone mind their business.
Very
And
true.
You have security operatives everywhere. Life
Yeah.
is so easy.
911 and you get the
911 before you know it. You can't even beat a child. Well, we can't go into that.
You
But,
can't beat a child.
The tariff issue, I think the trade tariff is something that a lot of people are talking about.
It's causing a
I
trade
think,
war.
About 30 or so countries are already on that matter.
Really?
And they are not finding it easy at all. Look at South Africa.
Yeah, exactly.
My God.
But the truth is, even
40%?
exactly, and if you look at it, some of these foreigners who are Americans in other African countries are not finding it easy at all because of this. When it comes to trade and all the in their mining sites, I was reading something about that, and the truth is, some of them are not fine because it's like a retaliation to what Trump is doing to their people overseas. So some African countries are head knocked on.
Americans cannot just stay in America alone. They
No,
want to travel.
how?
We have Americans in Nigeria.
We do a lot. Go to Maitama.
Countries, you know, so I don't know. There shouldn't be trade war. It's not necessary.
No, it's not,
as a
please.
matter of fact. All right. Well, it is that time of the day where we take you to the national dailies. What are the papers saying? You know, we need to make this introduction. We need to do all of the talkings that we've done so far to prepare your heart for the day, so that at least you can know what is happening around. You don't just say, "Are you sure this is what is happening?"
Yeah.
It needs to make you understand what is happening around the country.
And just to add to what Ramsey has said, it's not to scare you. Just calm down. Everything is going to be fine. Let's be positive. And let's quickly go into the national dailies. Do not go anywhere. It's Global Morning. Stay tuned.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range are the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning. You're welcome back, and if you're just tuning in, this is Global Morning on Global Television, and of course right now it's the newspaper review segment. And the first paper we'll be delving into is the Blueprint newspaper. And above the nameplate of the Blueprint newspaper, it says Tinubu, Afenifere, others mourn as ex-governor Olulayo dies at 89. And then, of course, below the Blueprint newspaper, we were just talking about this issue, and it says police withdraw Abuja summons, refer Emir Sanusi to FID in Kano. And you can find that read on page 6 of the Blueprint newspaper. Oil prices crashed to $66 weekend on Trump's tariffication. And on Sports Night, it says Onuachu Joe Aribo relegated with Southampton. And here the Star Story says Plateau killings, unfortunate incident there. It says ACF urges state of security emergency in vulnerable communities. And troops kill 3 bandits, destroy over 70 camps in Taraba. And the writer says 2 officers die, scores of terrorists neutralized in Borno. And still on the Blueprint newspaper, he says meningitis death toll hits 156 suspected cases, 1,858. And of course, it's going to be on the rampage now because, the heat season. And here it says CBN injects $197.71 million to stabilize FX market amid global shock. And ISA 2025 to boost investor confidence, and that's the SEC on page 20. And still on the Blueprint, it says reject approved $1.08 billion World Bank loan. Surap begs Tinubu. And below all of that, it says Naira straightens in Q1 amid CBN reforms, investors' confidence. And you can find that read on page 29. And one of the stories that caught my eye, we spoke about the Emir of Kano State, Emir Sanusi. And I'm talking about the police withdraw Abuja summons, refers him to the FID in Kano. I think that's better, don't you think? Well, but it's just that normally when you talk about individuals and the emirs, when you talk about rulers, traditional rulers, it wasn't like this back in the day. Once an emir says something, it's law, it's binding. But now we see that emirs are now being summoned to the police, terrain and all of that. As in, what's your take? Do you think that we do not have respect for elders anymore? We do not have respect for traditions, or what is actually going on? Is it the tussle that is ongoing in Kano that we've not gotten ahead with? This is really going on for a very long time now.
Yeah, really, you're right. I think that one of the things everyone should think about is who pay these traditional rulers, who pay their salaries, who pay their allowances, who buy their cars. That's it. Because gone are the days where these people have been funded with what we call crowdfunding. People give them yams from their farms, sell produce and give them lands and all of that. But now you see politicians, I think the governor, before a governor has been chosen in a state, they go to traditional rulers.
Very true.
Please, I want to contest. What do you think? The traditional ruler, especially the emir, I was in Kano, the emir of Kano then, the time of those days, can say, all right, you can't be a governor in this state, and that's it. And so it is in other states too, But now, when these people pay the salaries or the allowances of these traditional heads, you call them for a meeting, and you say one or two. Sometimes you see them interfering in the affairs of these traditional rulers and all of that. So I think, to me, it's part of the reason why we have some of these issues most times.
And another story that caught my eye is Troops kill 3 bandits, destroy over 70 camps in Taraba. Like I said, it's not just in one place anymore. From Borno, it's now moving stories, and there's camps built by these terrorists, and it's just unfortunate that 2 officers die, scores of terrorists neutralized in Borno, which is good. At least let's neutralize all of these terrorists to bring an end to this war of insurgency. Well, that is it, and let's just see how all of these plays out. Meningitis.
Well, while we're talking about meningitis, something caught my attention, and that's the issue. That's the fact that now you hardly have power. Even if you have your air conditioner, you have your fan, you have everything that cooling systems. Even if you have cooling systems, you don't have the power to even power them. And the level of heat these few days in FCT, I don't know how it is in other parts.
It's worse. It's everywhere.
It's something else. The heat is something else. Hardly you sleep at night, you wake up and you see your bed wet, everywhere wet, you see yourself sweating. You can't even sleep at night. And these are the kind of things that contribute to this meningitis of a thing. So the earlier the better. The Ministry of Health have to do something very fast about it so that it doesn't spread more than the way it is right now. And how do we arrest this situation? The National Orientation Agency will also need to give the people orientation.
Very important.
On how to live, what to do and what not to do. This is very important because the way things are going right now, Nigerians cannot afford to lose more lives. You talked about the terrorist attack. It's happening in Benue State. It's happening in the north. It's happening everywhere. It's happening in Plateau State. The one that happened in Benue State, Otukpo to be specific. Security operatives were able to, those that were adopted. A whole bus was adopted.
Yes,
and those that were
Benue Links, right?
I think Benue Links, about 4 persons lost their lives. They lost their lives, and the other 13 persons were actually rescued. That's kudos to the security operatives. I think we still need to do more, all right, to arrest this situation. Empower the people that need to be empowered. The people who are the named, acclaimed sponsors, allegedly should be brought to book. They should be meant to face the law so that it will serve as a deterrent to all the persons who are still sponsoring this terrorism.
Very true. Very true. Well said, Ramsey. And then, of course, the next paper, Ramsey will be running us through the next paper on the national dailies.
All right, let's quickly look at the next national daily on this beautiful 7th day of April 2025. We have this one which says FCNB Group post 111.9 billion naira PBT for FY24. That's above the nameplate Tinubu Obasanjo Southern governors. Others mourn death of ex-Oyo governor Oluloyo at 89. NDLEA nabs India-bound brothers at Lagos Airport with 5 kg of cocaine You know, these people are always coming into this
Are
country.
they kidding me right now?
You know, sometimes
The Asian woman, we're not done with that. You read about the woman that had over 72 wraps. In one of my favorite things in the world, chocolate. She had the effrontery, and now this.
I don't know what these Indians are up to.
What are they up
It is the same
to?
Indians that Penderson was talking about that had over 10,000 workers
in a company.
in a company in Nigeria,
As experts.
disguising
Oh,
going to be
God.
expatriates, doing
Exactly.
jobs that Nigerians should do. I don't know what's becoming of
Indians.
Indians. I don't know who is
What's
doing them.
happening?
How are they even getting papers into the country?
I actually don't know. It's cracking me up because really the Indians, what's happening?
Interior
Is there
Affairs,
something that's
Ministry of
happening?
Interior.
What?
I don't know
Please.
what's happening. Minister of Foreign Affairs.
What
what's
is happening?
Indians coming into this country. Are they?
Is a drug for
See,
me.
if you're coming in as an expatriate, we know.
But really,
But smuggling in cocaine. Enough of
and that's
emissions.
why I don't think I can ever forgive that Indian woman that came in with 72 wraps of.
You are just concerned about the chocolate.
Because of yes, it's so painful.
Okay, you were wondering if you had bought that chocolate. Or
So whatever happened, really. But it's just unfortunate that when Indians, tell us, okay, confide in us, tell us what's happening in Nigeria that we do not know.
I think we need to give kudos to NGLE.
No, we should.
For nabbing these people.
Especially
More
the
needs to be
woman.
done. I don't know how many have escaped, but it's so good that these ones were apprehended.
Exactly.
Brothers.
Brothers, really.
Brothers. All right, moving away from there, more headlines still coming from the Nigerian News Direct, where we have this one, and it says, Lagos orders immediate suspension of work on 100 waterfront structure. Moving away from there, 52% of farmers worry agricultural sector headed for trouble in 2026. This is coming from experts, and now to the big story on the Nigerian News Direct. The big story says Osun Local Government Council remain moribund as APC Adeleke in war of words, meaning they are not doing what they are supposed to do. They are moribund. Two writers to that story. Osun APC accuses Governor Adeleke of plotting judicial manipulation, inciting violence. Then the second writer says no room for violence, just rule of law. Governor Adeleke is the one responding.
That's the dancing governor.
The dancing governor. Adeleke. Well, sometimes you see him and you say, does this one even
have an issue in this life?
Issue in this life at all? Well, it's you can't carry all the problems in your head.
No, you can't.
You know, maybe that's his secret. That's what keeps him long
happy.
But then that's what makes him happy. That's what is prolonging his life, as the case maybe. That is his own form of exercise. I don't know. But then I don't know why there's always problem between local government council and of course the governor. No wonder there is a cry for local government autonomy. Whatever that may be causing that problem, it might not be far from finance. I don't know what the problem is, but then the bottom line is it is all about the people. It's not all about the local government council officials and the governor. It's all about the people.
The people.
The people should be meant to enjoy the dividends of democracy.
Very
That's
true.
going to be the size of the headlines from the Nigerian Tribune this morning.
All right, let's move on to the Nation newspaper. And above the nameplate of the Nation newspaper, it says, LP accuses NLC of plotting to invade Secretariat. And we can find that big story on page 3. And the writer says, party alert police DSS. And it says here, explosion at Lagos dump site. Police army probe source of explosives. And you can find that read on page 6. That was an unfortunate incident that happened in Lagos. These individuals that pick up metals, and he says he was trying to cut it open and it exploded. From what I read, he didn't know it was an explosion that the man lost his life. And thank God, life is life. Life is one, even if it's one.
For crying out loud.
But didn't he, seriously?
But who will go and dump an explosive at a dump
Like,
site?
seriously, I don't get it. What's happening?
What's the target?
What's the target?
What's the target?
What's the target?
This condemn people. These brothers from the north who pick things from the refuse dump, who pick melters and all of that. If they see explosive, they will know it.
They will
Some
know
of them.
it, and it's so
For
sad.
them, it is metal they are picking.
Yes,
And
because they
imagine
use it
that
to build something, just like people
Yes,
in Panteka.
recycling. They
Recycling.
recycle this
It's just so sad that could, why would someone put
an
explosive?
at a refuse dump.
Really, it's very heartbreaking. When I learned
Not
that
throw
the
it
man
into the water, probably.
No,
If it's an explosive.
call the individuals who are responding. That's why they were calling on the army. Okay, come, because you have an explosive device unit in the army, definitely that will come and deteriorate any bomb or any. That's what. But it's.
That's when you know there's an explosive. Then you talk about detonating it. But in a situation where I'm even glad that this guy didn't take it out from there to the public. It would have affected more than just one person.
Yeah, that's
If
true.
it was taken out of the refuse dump, outside, inside that their bag, they walk everywhere. If it was places where there are vehicles, places where there are human beings, it would have been more disastrous.
But you know what? I think with this now, this is like an eye-opener. Because we cannot trust in, look at the Indians, the way they're just coming into our country with drugs. having the effort to hide cocaine in chocolate. That's a very serious issue. We should take
You're
it up.
going back to the chocolate.
No, I'm not. I'm bringing it back that there should be an awareness. I think there should be an awareness for us to understand that there are some explosive devices that come in small, medium, big size, so we can all know, and in different dialects, so we can understand. For individuals who do not know, like this, they just mentioned the people that are northern brothers that take up all these metals, condemn, and they use it, they recycle for something. You'll be surprised what they can make with that. You'll be shocked that out of the metals in which they pick, that they actually recycle some of these things, like household things that you have in your homes. So it's better there's this awareness that should be created, that if you see something that has like a button or is shaped weird or in different dialects, so that at least we'll be more aware. That sensitization is very important. But it's just unfortunate that he had to die. Now, moving on now on the Nation newspaper, it says here, 1,820 residents displaced by Plateau attack. And it says Jimoh Ibrahim lists Tinubu's role in straightening foreign policy. And of course, you can get all these reading page 2 and page 4 of the Nation newspaper. And the Star story says telecom service quality worsens. I agree 100%. Is there anything like 101%?
100%.
100%. I agree with that.
These telcos are taking advantage of Nigerians.
That's really, is there?
I've expected NCC to make some statements
exactly
long ago, because you can't say you've hiked a tariff, then you're not given a commensurate service.
I'm not getting value for my money. It's very painful.
Money. You subscribe, you do subscription, get data, and before you say "pium," it's gone.
Must you say "pium"?
That's it. Before you even that's it. Before you even say Jack Robinson, everything it's gone. Well, I don't know why NCC is keeping quiet.
The part that I'm not even happy about is the fact that I'm not getting value for my money. I'm not getting. I'm not. For all Nigerians, a lot of people will tell you the same. That you'll be surprised that before you say, according to Ramsey, data is gone, and it's just unfortunate.
Data is live. So where's our life now?
Data can never be live.
Data is live.
People can just actually stay without it sometimes. So, but Nigerians need this. A lot of people use data for their businesses and all of to promote, to speak to loved ones and friends. So, God, I don't know what to say.
Well,
I don't know. But let's look at the electricity. For me, it's the electricity tariff. That's what I'm not happy with. And if you look at all of these polls, the people that are in charge of electricity, what's your name again?
PHC.
Thank you, the PHC. Look at their polls and look at all these high tension wires. Actually, have you looked at the roads recently? Like, go to Cairo. There's some high tension wires that are practically on the same level as the houses. It is so dangerous. They need to look into it. It's not all about...
The community shouldn't keep quiet.
They shouldn't keep quiet at all. God forbid. Exactly. So please, not all about the high electricity tariff. Do something about the poles and the high tension wires.
Now we're speaking to Abuja Electricity
Please,
Distribution Company.
your high tension wires are coming down to houses.
Disconnect people because they don't pay bills. Let them have value for the bills being paid.
Exactly, please, especially in that Karun news site. You have to go look at it. It's very important that some of these high tension wires, the poles are not properly put, and then it's like coming down to the houses. Please, you need to go check it out. All right, now, so let's quickly now, because of our time, oh my goodness. And here it says, police protesters head for showdown in Lagos, Abuja. And the writer there says, group to hit streets, kicking against anti-cyber security law, Rivers emergency, others. Action supervision on Police National Day. And that's it. And then Ramsey, quickly take us on one more paper so we can wrap it up. The Vanguard will be fine.
All right, the Vanguard, please withdraw invitation letters to Emir Sanusi. That's good. Mofwang from Plateau State attacks genocidal. Then the big story says Cybercrime Act, emergency rule protest. Anxiety as police organizers differ. A lot of writers to that story. You can pick a copy of the Vanguard newspaper and go through the writers yourself, and you can see the picture of Shore right there, the picture of the IGP of police, Better Kun, and you can also see the picture of Sanwo-Olu Juwon right there. Then this one says no respite for textile industry as domestic market shrinks further.
Very sad.
Details read on page 22 of the Vanguard newspaper. This one says Tinubu SGF, others mourn as ex-Oyo governor Oluloyo dies at 89. Lesser Rights Kayamo says aircraft recovery now seamless. And finally, from the water sport, NPFL Enyimba stop Warriors in Oriental Derby. That's the size of the headlines from the Vanguard newspaper this morning.
I know because of the size of our time. Let me just quickly take the Punch newspaper and then we can just wrap it up, and you have to go out and get yourself copies of the newspapers to get well informed on news making round. But quickly on the Punch newspaper, it says here, police commands brace for fresh nationwide protest, and you can find that read on page 2. Supreme Court judgment, Abure fears LP headquarter take over by LC, and you can find that read on page 16. And the 2027 coalition pushes for single-term candidate. Let's see how well that plays out. And here it says Tinubu Obasanjo Makinde mourn as ex-governor Oyo governor Oluloyo dies at 81. May he so rest in peace. And the Star story there says 20 governors on the fire for delaying the 70K minimum wage. Well, I'm happy about that. They should be on the fire, please. They should do the needful.
Even private sectors that have not complied, so
please,
should go under fire.
It should go under fire too. And it says local government workers, teachers in Zamfara, Cross River, Abia, others yet to get minimum wage. And then it says here Nigerians' debt servicing rises 68% to 13 trillion naira. 15 injured in Lagos gas explosion. Unfortunate incident there. Why Trump tariff is bad for Nigerian exports, says the federal government. And that's all we can take on the newspaper review segment on Global Morning. Please just go out and get yourself a copy of newspapers. You can go out and get the Daily Times, the Guardian, and all of that combined. And stick around. It's Global Morning. Up next is AM News. Do not go anywhere. The program continues shortly. Stay tuned.
is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews, latest news with experts on key global issues,
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning. Do you know that Global Television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch Global Television real time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews, latest news with experts on key global issues,
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning. Do you know that Global Television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch Global Television real time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television.
is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to AM News on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Jumai Manson. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. You can download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcast. Now the news info. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has shifted its Anambra governorship primary from April 5th to April 8th. Chidi Chidebe, PDP Anambra chairman, confirmed the development in Akwa during an interview. The primary will produce the party's candidate for November 8th governorship election. Chidebe says the National Secretariat approved the shift to complete necessary administrative processes and ensure a smooth exercise. APC National Chairman condoled family. The National Chairman of Congress, Abdullahi Ganduje, has condoled the family and the entire people of Kano State over the death of Galadiman Kano, late Abbas Sanusi. Abbas Sanusi, who is the father of the APC State Chairman Abdullahi Abbas, died on Thursday after a brief illness. Global TV correspondent Idris Jibrin witnessed the visit in Kano and now reports.
Leaders of the APC. The chairman Abdullahi Ganduje arrived the VIP wing of the Malam Aminu Kano International Airport to, among other things, pay his condolence visit to the Emir of Kano, Amina Ado Bayero. The Emir's palace in Nasarawa, Ganduje was received by the Sarkin Dawaki Aminu Babba and other traditional rulers of the Kano Emirates. The main reason why we visited this historic palace, Your Highness, is to condole you over the passing away of Galadima of Kano. There is no doubt that Galadima of Kano's death is a great loss not only to Kano people or Northerners, but Nigerians in general.
Ba al'ummar jihar Kano kawai ba, gode masa da wannan ziyara.
The national chairman of the APC, we thank you for this condolence visit. We are sure if he had been in town at the time of the funeral, we would have done it together with him. We thank God he was at the Holy Land at the time, and we believe his prayers for the Galadima of Kano
haka muna da yakinin ubangiji ya karba addu'o'in da aka yi wa marigayi Galadima Kano.
Back at Galadanchi quarters, the national chairman met with the state chairman of the APC, Abdullahi Abbas, where he condoled him over the passing away of his father, late Abbas Sanusi. Hundreds of party supporters across the 44 local government areas of Kano State turned out to join Abdullahi Ganduje in condoling the entire people of Kano State over what he described as a great loss, not only to Kano, but Nigeria in general.
The Galadima of Kano is not only a loss to his family or to the people of Kano State, but to the all Nigerians, considering the service that he delivered during his lifetime. He really contributed to the development of traditional institutions in Kano, not only in Kano, but in the whole of the country. Therefore, it is our responsibility to call the people of Kano State to continue to pray for his soul.
Late Abbas Sanusi was crowned the Galadima of Kano after the death of the 13th Emir of Kano, Alhaji Ado Bayero, during whose reign he served as the Wambai of Kano. From Kano, Idris Juprin reporting for Global Television News.
Faced with growing criticism over the lack of progress in bridging the huge metering gap in the power sector, the Minister of Power, Chief Adebayo Adelabu, disclosed that the government is expecting the first batch of 3,205,101 meters it ordered last year. Adelabu, in a statement by Special Advisor, Strategic Communications and Media Relations, Tunji Bolaji, said 75,000 meters under the International Competitive Bid 1, ICB 1, are expected by April 2025, followed by the second batch of 200,000 meters in May 2025. The federal government is vetting potential candidates to fill diplomatic roles in its 109 missions, 72 embassies, 22 high commissions, and 11 global consulates. The development revealed that a former Minister of Aviation under the Obasanjo administration, Femi Fani Kayode, and former Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Femi Pedro, are among the nominees. The vetting is not conducted centrally, as nominees are being asked to report to the DSS offices nearest to them. Presidency officials confirmed several candidates had been contacted to provide personal education and work history. The federal government has approved the establishment of 8,880 new primary health care centers across the country. This is under the Comprehensive Health Sector Renewal Investment Initiative. According to Vice President Kashim Shettima, the VP disclosed this during the commissioning of the Suleiman Adebola Adegunwa Trauma Center at the Olabisi Onibanjo University Teaching Hospital in Shagamu. The facility, worth over 2 billion naira, was donated to the teaching hospital by an industrialist and philanthropist Asiwaju Suleiman Adebola Adegunwa to mark his 80th birthday. Operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency have arrested the 75-year-old grandfather, Inam Felix, and two brothers, John Abugu, 43, and Kenneth Abugu, 31, in separate drug trafficking incidents across the country as the agency intensified its crackdown on illicit drug activities. Now, the NDLEA spokesperson Femi Babafemi, in a statement, said that the suspects were caught with 5 kilograms of cocaine concealed within the walls of their cases. He said they had claimed to be traveling for medical treatment but were intercepted following credible intelligence. The Nigerian government has directed all heads of federal universities, polytechnics, colleges of education, and other higher institutions to disclose and other institutions for public scrutiny. The Minister of Education, Tunji Alausa, gave this directive in a statement released by the ministry's spokesperson, Borowo Folashade. The minister said that educational institutions should publish their budget breakdown, research grants, tertiary education, trust fund allocation, as well as student population on their official websites. Over now to the Senate has dismissed the insinuations that the National Assembly have become a mere rubber-stamping institution to the executive arm of government. saying it needed not to be combative to demonstrate its independence. The chairman, Senate Committee on Media and Publicity, Senator Yemi Aderumodu, stated this in his country home, Ilewa, Ekiti, during an interactive session with newsmen. He says that Upper Chamber has done nothing to warrant being labeled as a rubber stamping institution. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has announced that the Crown Princess of Sweden, Victoria Desiree, will be visiting Nigeria from Monday, April 7th to Wednesday, April 9, 2025. This was contained in a statement signed by the acting spokesperson for the ministry, Kenebi Ebifa. During her visit, the Crown Princess will engage in high-level meetings with Nigerian officials to strengthen the diplomatic and economic ties between the two nations. On the first day of her visit, Desiree will meet with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Tugga. The Minister of Education, Olatunji Alausa, have called for an extension of the National Youth Service Corps NYSC scheme for 1 year to 2 years. As shared in an official statement in NYSC Facebook page, the minister expressed his view during a meeting with NYSC Director General, Brigadier General Olakunle Nafiu, as the ministry's office in Abuja. Alausa in his address stressed the importance of enhancing the NYSC program, particularly its skill acquisition and entrepreneurship development training, adding that the national service duration be doubled from 1 year to 2 years to allow corps members to gain more substantial skills and experiences. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAM, has extended the registration for 2025 Direct Entry DE examination beyond the initial deadline of Monday, April 7, 2025 today. JAM confirmed this in a statement issued by its spokesperson, Fabian Benjamin. The registration process, which began on Wednesday, March 12, 2025, will continue until the closing date is announced, JAM added. The Northern State Governors Forum, NSGF, has condemned the recent attack on 5 communities in Bokos local government area of Plateau, describing them as senseless. The forum says killings threaten the unity and stability of the region. The chairman of the forum and governor of Gombe State, Inuwa Yahaya, a statement issued in Gombe, expressed deep sorrow over the tragic incident which claimed several lives and left scores injured, mostly women and children. With Nigerians' unemployment rate continuing to affect millions, particularly the youth, many are left seeking opportunities to build a sustainable future. As government promises reforms and job creation, citizens share their perspectives on causes and possible solutions to the lingering job crisis. Hassan Kabir completes the report. We apologize, that news will be brought in our subsequent bulletin. Now, the Assembly for the Prevention of Traditional Institutions in Nigeria have raised concerns over the invitation extended to the Emir of Kano, Khalifa Muhammadu Sanusi II. The group pointed out that the matter in question is already under investigation by the Kano State Command of the Nigerian Police, making the invitation by the police unnecessary and perplexing. The group, in a statement signed by its national coordinator, Yaha Inda Musa, expressed surprise at the invitation by the police, which was dated April 4th, 2025, and signed by Olajide Rufus Ibitoye, Commissioner of Police, OBS, on behalf of the Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of the Police Intelligence Department. Federal government has been called upon to declare a state of emergency in Nigeria's health sector. Patrick Uju, the second mate of Nas Zuma Dex, made the statement while speaking to journalists during a World Health Day walk in Abuja. Samuel Odi completes the story.
The second mate of Nas Zuma, Patrick Uju, underscores the need for a meeting involving all relevant stakeholders to discuss and tackle pressing issues facing the health sectors. He emphasized that such a move would help restore pride in the medical profession in Nigeria. He further urged the federal government to implement transparent and effective policies aimed at improving the health system.
This country has gone to the point where government needs to declare an emergency in the health sector. Not just in the health sector, but let us focus on the one we are celebrating today. There is need to call a stakeholders meeting. The government must be honest, they must be sincere. They must come forth with policies that will make people look at it and say, okay, I can take pride in being a doctor in Nigeria. Apart from satisfaction of saving people's lives, solving people's problems, you also take the satisfaction that your own problem is also being catered for.
It's possible. I know that people worry about a whole lot of things, but health, for you to have good health, you must have physical activity. The least you can do is walk. The body is structured to work. Most people think that for you to exercise, you need to play football, play lawn tennis, or do other extraneous activities. But from what we learn when we have periodical health talks is that walking is the simplest form of exercise, and walking is even easier for the aged people, because the body is made in such a way that the more you exercise your legs, the healthier you stay. It gives you opportunity for your heart works faster, your all internal organs function better when you walk. So I will encourage the elderly amongst us to imbibe the habit of walking.
The group further highlighted the importance of ensuring the welfare of doctors through deliberate effort from the government. Samuel Odi, reporting for Global Television News.
As part of activities to mark the 2025 National Police Day, the Nigerian Police Force organized a walkathon in Abuja. The event featured senior police officers, rank and file personnel, police families, and members of the public, all walking through major city routes to promote fitness, solidarity, and security awareness. Ramsey Enoch Agbo has the details.
The walkathon began at the force headquarters and aimed to encourage a healthy lifestyle among officers while strengthening police-community relations. Participants wore branded shirts with this year's theme and walk in unity, chanting peace songs and pledging commitment to service. Wife of the Inspector General of Police and President of the Police Officers' Wives Association, Dr. Elizabeth Egbetokun, addressed the journalists on the importance of community roles in maintaining peace and security.
To support them, to make sure that the event is successful. Exercise is very important. The message I have for Nigerians is that we should be security conscious, and it's not all about the police. Police is your friend. You have to give information to the police to be able to exercise their duties.
Walkathon is one of the several events planned for the National Police Day celebration, including police lectures, community outreaches, award ceremonies, and a Thanksgiving service. Authorities said the celebration is meant to honor police officers' sacrifices and reinforce the force's dedications to peace, integrity, and professionalism. Ramsey Enoch Agbo reporting for Global TV News.
You're watching the live broadcast of AM News. When AM News returns, reject $1.08 billion World Bank loan, probe missing funds, Surab tells Tinubu. Details coming shortly, plus foreign and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. Do you know that Global Television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch Global Television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television.
You are welcome back, and if you're just tuning in, this is AM News on Global Television. Thank you for staying with us. In Business Now, the Socioeconomic Rights and Accountability Project has urged President Bola Tinubu to reject the recently approved $1.08 billion loan from the World Bank. The group says the president should instead direct the Attorney General Lateef Fagbemi and anti-corruption agencies to investigate allegations that over 233 billion naira of public funds are missing, diverted or unaccounted for by various government agencies, including the Nigerian Bulk Electricity Trading PLC. In a statement released, SIRAP urged that anyone responsible should face persecution if there is enough evidence, and that any recovered funds should be returned to the public treasury. Nigeria's public debt increased by 48.58% to 144.67 trillion naira as of December 2024 from 97.34 trillion naira recorded by the end of 2023. Nigeria's Debt Management Office disclosed this in its latest report on the country's public debt profile. Further analysis showed that Nigeria's public debt surged by 47.32 trillion naira on a year-on-year basis. A top economic advisor to President Donald Trump says over 50 countries have reached out to the White House to begin trade talks as U.S. officials sought to defend sweeping new tariffs that have unleashed global turmoil. U.S. National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett, speaking during an interview, denied that the tariffs were part of the strategy by Trump to crash financial markets to pressure the U.S. Federal Reserve to cut interest rates. According to him, there would be no political coercion of the central bank. The federal government, has reiterated its commitment to establishing more gemstones and jewelry-making centers across the country to boost entrepreneurship in the mining industry and support the local value addition policy. The Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dr. Dele Alake, made this known during a tour of the Luro School of Mining in Abuja. Shauna J. has the details how she landed in influencers.
The Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dr. Dele Alake, commended the Laurel School of Mining for leading the way in training jewelry and gemstone makers, expressing satisfaction with the quality of the jewelry produced. He says the training center contribution to the mining industry has the potential to provide employment for the youth, drive industrialization of the sector, and generate more revenue for the country.
Major contribution to this economy via the solid mineral sector, and this is one of the things that we said earlier on, that we're going to improve every sector of the solid mineral space to make its own contribution. And you can see what this center is training people who are going out to train and to actually work, and that's part of the local value addition we are talking about. Yeah, the center now is really like doing processing, cutting, all the value chain of jewelry making, and that's what we have seen here now. So what more way can you contribute to the economy than actually producing something from our raw materials in Nigeria, rather than taking those raw materials out for finished products? They are now being finished right here, which is a value addition. So that's a significant contribution to the economy. It's going to generate employment, more production, and of course more revenue, and then more taxes for government as well. And then people will get engaged. You know, a lot of illegal operators would also move into this sector. A lot of our youth that are roaming the streets, this is an opportunity for them to come and learn something, you know, handiwork. And this is more than handiwork. This is actually industrialization. When you are manufacturing, when you are producing, it's industrialization, and that's what we're doing here. So it is really making significant contribution to this economy. In another year or so, we'll be able to put figures to the production value. You know, we'll be able to say, okay, this center has contributed X amount of dollars or naira or whatever it is to the GDP of Nigeria. But overall, I'm very satisfied with what is happening here.
The minister reiterated the federal government's commitment to strengthening production at the center and assured that more such centers will be established across the country once the 2025 budget implementation begins. He also highlighted the importance of increasing jewelry production, not just to meet local demand, but also for export purposes, noting that this sector has the potential to become a major foreign exchange earner for the country.
Just been given the budget. We haven't even gotten the warrant for expenditure yet. But the plans are already on. Immediately money is available, we started. In fact, with this center now, it's encouraging to begin to attract jewelry-making factories and gemstone factories, and we are going to do that. And this center would be like a reservoir, a pool from where experts will be drawn to service those factories that will be coming up. So this is very, very significant center.
In his remarks, the MD and CEO of Laurel School of Mining, Tope Adebanjo, expressed gratitude to the ministry for its support, stressing that the ongoing Batch 4...
Foreign scene now, tens of thousands of protesters flooded the streets of major U.S. cities to oppose the divisive policies of President Donald Trump. In the largest demonstration since his return to the White House, opponents of the Republican president policies, from government staffing cuts to trade tariffs and eroding civil liberties, rallied in Washington, New York, Houston, Florida, Colorado, and Los Angeles, among other locations. In Washington, thousands of demonstrators, many traveling from across the United States, gathered on the National Mall, where dozens of speakers rallied opposition to Trump. A missile attack on the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv, injured at least 3 people and caused several blazes. And city mayor says 2 days after the Russian strike killed 18 people in President Vladimir Zelensky's hometown. Vitaly Kosyuk says pharmaceuticals and been sent to 2 districts in Kyiv, while the Ukrainian Air Force says missiles are entered the northern Chernihiv region. Explosions in the capital. Air defense is in operation, Katachoko said on Telegram. The U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has announced that the U.S. is immediately revoking visas issued to all South Sudanese passport holders due to the African nation refusing to accept its citizens who have been removed from the U.S., Rubio in a statement, adding that the U.S. will also block any arriving citizens of South Sudan, the world's newest country, at U.S. ports of entry. He blamed the failure of the South Sudan transitional government to accept the return of its repatriated citizens in timely manner. And in sports now, Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola has identified Bayer Leverkusen midfielder Florian Wirtz as the man to replace Kevin De Bruyne, according to Daily Mail. The 21-year-old has shown for the Bundesliga championship since he broke into the first term as a teenager. Wirtz has crucial to Xabi Alonso team, winning the title in the historic unbeaten champion last season. Cole Palmer was left on the bench for almost an hour as fourth-place Chelsea's winless run on the road continued with a 0-0 draw at Brentford. Blues boss Enzo Maresca raised eyebrows by dropping England forward Palmer despite his side battle to qualify for the Champions League. Chelsea have a UEFA Conference League quarter-final trip to Legia Warsaw on Thursday, but Maresca's priorities were questioned following the Blues' insistent delay. Novak Djokovic crisis into the quarterfinals of the Miami Open on Tuesday with a 6-2, 6-2 win over Italian Lorenzo Musetti in 1 hour 22 minutes. Musetti, the 15th seed from Tanzania, got off to a flying start to take a 2-0 lead in the first set, but then proceeded to lose the next line games as the Squirps, looking confident and sharp, ran away with the game. Djokovic has won the Miami Open on 6 occasions but has not featured in the quarters since his last victory here in 2016. As we end TV News, AM News to an end, let's take a quick look at our top stories again. Brought to you that the federal government has approved establishment of 8,880 new primary health care centers across the country. This is under the Comprehensive Health Sector Renewal Investment Initiative, according to Vice President Kashim Shettima. And the Business, Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project has urged President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to reject recently approved $1.08 billion loan from the World Bank. And on the foreign scene, tens of thousands of protesters flood the streets of major U.S. cities to oppose the decisive policies of President Donald Trump in the largest demonstration since his return to the White House. And finally, on sports, Cole Palmer has left on the bench for almost an hour's fourth-place Chelsea winless run on the road continued with a 0-0 draw at Binforth. And that's it on AM News. And a quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365, Star Times channel 276. Now, kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen by using @GlobalTVNG. You can download the Global TV Nigeria mobile app on iOS devices to keep track of our broadcast. I am Jumai Manson. Thank you for watching. Global Morning continues shortly. Stay tuned.
Do you know that Global Television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch Global Television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews, latest news with experts on key global issues,
and at the same time keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Welcome back from the AM News. It is still Global Morning right here on this beautiful Monday morning. And of course, we are going straight to the first conversation for the day. Some people may be wondering why we need to talk about this. It is because it's coming from a place of concern. And of course, the person talking about this very issue is an expert in that field. We're talking about a dean right here and of course a lecturer, a university don. Let me just put it that way, university don. We're looking at the education sector. This morning, there is a call for the ban of smartphones in schools, tertiary institutions, you know, even the secondary schools, the ban of cell phones. And some persons may be wondering, why should they ban cell phones in school, smartphones, not just cell phones, smartphones. And when a phone is smart, you know what it means. You know, different things for different folks. People have different reasons why they actually propose certain things, why they advise for or against certain things. But then someone may say, well, the arrival of smartphone is more of a blessing than a curse. But then why does the use of it need to be minimized or probably banned in higher institution? Well, the Tag Team Monday is still here, and of course, our guests will be joining us subsequently. But then, before then, let me get to Jumai right now. As it is, you know how we started using smartphones in Nigeria? The first time, 2000, right? The first time it started, it was just limited to the rich, people who could afford it. And what they even had that time wasn't a smartphone.
No.
You know, they only had a means of communication.
Very true.
3310. Then they even started with the Turaya kind of phone. You know, but now we have smartphones everywhere.
Yes, we do.
Even children in primary schools, some of them have access to smartphones right now. But a Don, okay, who has been in the system for a very long time, is calling for the ban of smartphones. On a very clean note now, on a clean note, without even thinking or maybe looking at the reason why he has pushed or advised for the ban, what do you think about banning smartphones in schools?
Just in schools. Our focus here is the higher institution. I feel it, for me, my own opinion as Jumai, not Global Television, but Jumai, I feel it's wrong. Are you kidding me right now? Go to advanced countries. They've gone beyond all of that. What they can do with their smartphones will amaze you. And for goodness sake, we should be technologically inclined when it comes to issues like this. I know you might say because of malpractice and all of that, the highest you can do is drop all your phones when you're going into the exam. Or don't bring your phones at all. That was how it was back in the day when I was in the higher institution. They'll tell you, don't even bother bringing your phones because you're not going to take it in. And the thing that will happen is if you drop it where others are and you don't see it again, it's at your own cost. So why would you ban phones in higher institution? They're low. Primary school, I understand. They're still little children. What do they know? Secondary school, yes, I understand, because we need some kind of, we need everyone to be in accordance when it comes to rules and regulations. But the higher institution, are you kidding me? These are individuals who are understanding what life is all about. They are 18 and above. And I know that when you're 18 years of age, you are an adult. So why would you ban? It doesn't matter whether it has to do with examination malpractice. It doesn't matter whether they do not copy notes. It doesn't matter whether they just screenshot and know what's next. Or you allow AI and all of that. The thing is, the child must be groomed from home. To understand that the higher institution is a different ball game entirely. There's no parent there that will tell you, oh, get up, go and read your book. If you do not read, you will fail. Is it that you come out with a 2-1, a first class, second class, or a pass? And it's on you. Really. It's on you. So the child should be groomed from home first to understand that, this is the implication. You must read. You must try as much as possible to sit down and read your books.
Oh, okay.
So talking about banning of phones right now because a child, maybe if it could be due to examination malpractice or they are not concentrating, it's on them. Are you kidding me right now?
Okay.
It's on them. Really?
It's on them because they are the ones who are in school to start
Exactly.
with. But then they don't have advanced some reasons. He went further to talk about the fact that it has caused a lot of distractions because this is someone who lectures. This is someone who is in charge of the university that has carried out some research, and as the case may be. Like you said, it's not banning them totally, but then the school is banned, the usage is banned in schools. I know some persons may still hide to use it, but what would how would you marry concentrating on the reason why you're in school? Because like you said, your parents are not there.
No.
How would you, because some persons, you're saying, well, if either you concentrate and come out with a good grade or not, when these kids get to school, they become something else. The peer pressure is right there.
Of course.
Then you still have your phone. Let me tell you the truth. Some persons can be on social media, even while lecture is on.
True.
They still get to the hostel, they are still on their phones, smartphones, and all of these cause distractions.
It's very true.
Make a lot of people fail. We have a lot of half-baked people. Before now, I think a lot of people blame
the mode of teaching in our tertiary institutions and
Sure,
even secondary
sure,
schools.
sure.
But now that we have this distraction, how can you marry concentration, okay, on while you are in school, your studies and all of that, and distraction that come from this smartphone?
It's very simple. If I was a lecturer, or if I am a lecturer, when you come into my lecture, and the school should say no use of phone till after lectures. It's that for you to ban it. I know there's some higher institutions now. I just don't want to mention because they didn't pay for publicity, that do not allow phones.
Yeah, especially private
of course,
institutions.
private institutions that do not allow phones. My niece, she went to a private institution and they didn't allow phones for her stay throughout. You cannot use phones. You cannot. But I'm just saying now, I do not understand, because phones is a part of a teaching method for you to be inclined with technology. Do you understand? So the thing is, at the same time, the highest you can do is say, okay, fine, do not bring your phones once lecture is on. During exams, there should be some rules to connect all of that. But the minute the lectures are over, please, when you're in your dorm or your hostels or whatever, you can continue. But to ban it completely is not, for me. I don't think I like that idea. But who knows, you know?
All right. Based on statistics now, like what the Don said, he said it is a misplaced priority. Technology is good,
yes,
but
it is.
people are abusing the use of it. You know, and if you look at it critically, you can see that a lot of the youthful decadence that we have in the society, majority of it come from people using these cell phones. And what are we talking about? As it is, you see some persons, they lose concentration. So some persons, you're talking about maybe a particular topic, all right, then they are doing a different thing altogether. Then they get to the hostel, their mind is, some people communicate, some people rob, some people go into prostitution just from the usage of phone. Some people are being raped just from the usage of phone, you know, because the communication, everything happens right there. Some persons even become, some said, some people are lazy because of the usage of cell phone. They don't do any other thing for themselves anymore.
Ramsey, let me tell you something. It's technology. That it's here and it has come to stay. It's just the mode in which you actually, your own device on how you make use of it. And the truth of the matter is that for these advantages or disadvantages that you've laid out, it's used when it comes to emergency cases, how to reach people's parents and all of that. So to ban this completely, I think it's a very serious issue. Well, let's just hear from the professional to throw in more light.
All right, we're talking about the proposal, the call for the ban of smartphones in schools, and we have an expert joining us to continue the conversation. We will be back after this break. Stay with us.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
is Global Morning.
Welcome back from that break. It is still Global Morning, this beautiful Monday morning, and we're discussing something very vital. We're looking at the education sector. So many things have contributed to the issues we have in our education sector today. A lot of people are complaining of the fact that we have a lot of about 600,000 graduates leaving the university yearly, if not more, because we have a lot of private institutions in the country. But then, how good are these students, these graduates coming out, and where did the problem start from? It don't have actually identified that the use of smartphones should be banned in high institutions, in schools, as the case may be, both secondary and of course a tertiary institution. And in fact, Jumai and I were talking about it, and she had her perspective. But now we have someone in the studio right here. Is an information professional and a public affairs analyst. I'm talking about Ogunloye Benedict Olalekun. It's good to have you join us.
Good morning.
This morning.
It's my pleasure being here.
Yeah, we're looking at the proposal coming from a university done that has called for the ban of smartphone. How does that sound to you?
Well, it sounds, if you ask me, a good thing to do. But then, when you are banning it from where? And what are the available alternatives? Now, people are at work. I know that in some environments you cannot use your personal mobile phone for any official function. But that is not the case in Nigeria, for instance. Majority of people use their personal devices to do official job, ranging from laptops to phones and the rest of that. Now, of course, it's not the best of practice, because when the staff use that, means it leaves with a lot of information that belongs to the organization. Now let's come back to school. What is the computer to student ratio in our universities, for instance? In this age and time, you cannot do a proper research if you are not online. If you do not interact with the electronic component of knowledge. There are a lot of things perhaps that are explained physically, but when you see maybe a YouTube video or any form of video constructed by the lecturer or by a third party, it gives you a better explanation. But the question is, do we have sufficient computers in our universities for these students to interact with, so that they can actually acquire the kind of knowledge they have? If you go to some school outside of here, you're going to realize that in the hostel area, there are workstations that people can go to. In the library, there are workstations you can interact with. In the student union building, there are any property that belongs to the university, you will find a computer as a student that you can interact with, log on to, do what you need to do, get the information that you need to get, and save it to a repository that has been created for you. So it doesn't matter the number of campuses that the institution has got. Wherever you are, as long as it's a facility owned by the university, you have access to a computer that can help you. Now, that environment where that exists, if you say you are banning mobile phone within the university infrastructure, I would say that is well and okay. But in the Nigerian environment, the student possibly use the mobile phone for their assignment, they use it for their email, they use it for things that are related to the studies. So banning it outrightly without making a provision at a replacement, I think will not be the right thing to do. However, irrespective of what the status is, I think that in the classroom, in the library, in the laboratories, where there is supposed to be an instructor talking to the student, addressing the student, mobile phone should be completely disallowed. Now, of course, in some countries in Asia, what they have done years back, not even now, 10, 15 years ago, has been that they have what they call signal blockers. So in areas on the school campus where you are not meant to carry a mobile phone, if you walk into them, no network will work. So the phone becomes more like a picture element, right? You cannot make calls, you cannot access the internet, you can't do anything. That was, but we are not yet in that environment. So it has to be physically banning the phone from coming into our classroom, from going into the library, from going into the labs. But at their free time, we no longer have a mailing system. Developed as the UK is, the postal service is still working and still very trusted and relied upon. But here, except you're going to do a courier, the post office is maybe the only time I remember them is when I have cargo to send. And I'm sure that some people, even if you tell them post office, they possibly no longer know what it means, especially the Gen Z that we are talking about. So they are not used to writing letters, and they don't even have effective means of delivering and getting results for their letters. So it means that they need their phone to be able to reach out to their parents. So if you are going to, but in secondary school, I think it should be an outright ban. If you need to reach parents or you think the students should talk, there should be some form of phones provided centrally, maybe in the hostel, in the dormitory area, that stays with the housekeeper or the house warden, as the case may be, or the matron. So the children can come, maybe flash or contact their parent and say, okay, I will be available and I think that happens in some of our secondary schools, even some of the very expensive private schools. The children are not allowed to have phones of their own. What they do is maybe between 6 and 8 in the evening, all the children that want to call will go there, and their parents will call in. They will call the child, you speak with your parents maybe for the 3 or 5 minutes that you are allowed, and then you go away. But in secondary school, banning phone of any type, not even Android, any type at all, I think for our environment will still be very okay. Because most times, it is not the student who should call the parents in emergency, it is the school authority. Because they are still under 18 anyway. By standard, they are supposed to be under 18, and we know in reality the majority of them are even between 30, they are less than 16. In practical reality in a lot of our schools. So giving them the phone, I think it's not good enough. So
because some of the reasons they don't actually advance is that it's been used for the wrong reasons. Like a lot of people get addicted to things like pornography and distractions, and some even use this for exam malpractices. Some people use it to communicate for the very wrong reason, and these are some of the reasons that he has advanced. And we're not just looking at how it affects just the students alone, but how it affects the society and the educational sector, because a lot of times we talk about the fact that the government is not doing well for our educational sector, but then what is the effort from the students and the lecturers? And it's part of the reason why he said this concern is coming. So how would you compare that some of the decadence or some of the issues we have in the educational sector could actually culminate from the distractions that come from the area of the students and what they get on the internet, having their smartphones with them? Remember, it is a smartphone.
Yeah, you see, like I said, in the classroom area, in the instruction area, in the exam hall, in the libraries, and any other official function, right, that is tied to studentship, banning the smartphone will be good. Why? Because it will promote togetherness. When you leave children with smartphone, all of them are in the same space, but they are in different worlds. This one is in Disneyland, that one is in Opera, the other one is elsewhere, one is with a group of his friends hanging out online. The 4 children are in the same place, but they are not doing the same thing. They are not even talking to themselves. If you come back after 6 hours, the chances are that they will not have interacted in any way, perhaps except if there was something like food or popcorn that brought them together. But in that physical space, their social interaction are with people who are very far from where they are. But like I said, it has its ills, and for that purpose, you have to control or limit the usage. We don't have the technology of Japan, so you cannot say, okay, we want to block signal and do this and do that. Do we even have enough lecture theaters in the first place to accommodate all the students? There are public universities in Nigeria where students, because they want to get good seat or they want to get seat at all, leave their hostel at 5:30 for a 9 o'clock lecture. So by 6:30, the class is already filled up. But they are going to wait until 8 or 9 o'clock for that class to start. It can be boring. It can be crazy. A lot of things are wrong. But elsewhere, you know that you are 35 people taking that lecture. The seats are possibly going to be just 35 or 36 at the most. But everybody is sure of getting a seat. And wherever you sit in that classroom, you know the audio is not an issue, the vision is not an issue. And if it's supposed to be a 500 persons hall, you know that everybody will get a seat. But not us. The hall is 250 and the students are 400. So to a large extent, facilities are not sufficient. So DONS should focus primarily first on providing what is required for the university to run effectively. What are the universities doing with their various state fund projects? Is it just the building? If we enter the building, are the equipment that should be inside the building, are they there? Like I asked that question, what is the ratio of students to computers in our universities? Because the alternative they would have is to work, and sometimes it's even easier and better working on the computers. They are losing their phones. It's at a huge cost to their parents. Basically now the smallest of Android phone that student can use, you are buying between 120 and 200,000. We're not talking about iPhone, just regular Android. Regular Android that can help them do their assignment and the rest. But of course, people attack them on the way, and those phones are taken away. They have to be replaced. But if there are computers in the university that these children can use, computers in the hostel area, so you don't even have to carry anything. Get there, log on with your matric number. It gives you your own page and you do your work. You need to move from one campus to the other, you log out. When you get to the other campus, you log in, you can continue your work from where you stop. So in which university in Nigeria have we provided that for the students? And what are the universities doing to provide that? When you give the student what they need, then you will be able to do other things.
All right, let's quickly look at the education sector as a whole. A lot of people have complained about the education system in Nigeria. I don't know, what's your assessment of the education sector in Nigeria as at the moment?
Well, I think that whoever thought education should be a business in the late 90s to the early 2000s, those who took that decision, because as far as I'm concerned today, education is the only business that every Dick and Harry, every Tom and Jerry in Nigeria believe they can run. Walk through all those slums and then you will see one board, you will see one cage, and they tell you it's a school and there are actually children there. Don't go far, go to Jabi. That's Jabi Arab, that Arab slum, and you will count the number of schools that are there. Go to Pana, you will see school inside Pana. Go down to Kubwa village, you just pass, you can't even see the drainage, but it's a school. So as long as we see it as a business, education should be a charity, which means you must be ready to run it as charity before you get into it, right? But we saw it as a business for quite some time, and having turned it to a business, even when you were doing your win, go and check the win rate. The win rate for people who wanted to establish schools during your win were much higher than people who want to do other businesses, which means that fundamentally we have accepted as a people that education is a business. Now, in an environment where moral values are dropping, where ethical values are dropping, you expect that business values will also what? Drop. And so if education is a business, then we know that education has been greatly what? Compromised. It has been greatly compromised. So you get to some places they call school and you can't find a teacher. And the people you find possibly are not even happy doing it. I know the kind of teachers I have in primary school. I'm not sure many schools can boast of them today. Even though then you will say some of them were not, maybe they were doing it temporarily because they have other things to proceed to. But I know my teacher was doing extramural classes for free in primary school. One, I think Abayomi Victor Ladako, that was my last teacher, primary 5 and 6. He would do extramural lessons for us for free because he wanted us to be able to compete well. So, but today, how many schools, whether public or private, whatever they do has a fee that is what? That is attached. And it is being done because of the fee, as far as I'm concerned, not because of the children. You come to people who are supposed to be education supervisors or education inspectors. In our days, you really know. Maybe 5 minutes until when they come is when you know, okay, the inspectors are likely going to come. And you see teachers, everybody rushing to make sure what? Things are proper. And sometimes you don't know when they will come. So they keep doing the things they need to do all the time. But today, are there education inspectors visiting the schools? And when they visit, what do we do with their reports? Are we not just seeing teaching as... Many people are into teaching today because they want to make ends meet. They just want to survive. But in those days, teachers see themselves as people who should mold and build life. Today is a theory. They just talk about it. But that's not exactly what it is. In my days, only very few teachers can tell you Omolomo Lepaya Oniya. That is, other people's children cannot kill other people's mother. Your troubles are too much. But today, the teachers, some teachers don't even care. Check the children note. Things are not there. I've heard a boy telling another boy, he said that assignment, the teacher didn't teach us, and my mommy did not know it. So it is the teacher that will do it by herself. Till she left that class, the assignment was not submitted, and no correction was done.
Meaning the teacher doesn't even know what
possibly he doesn't know, or he knows but did not care. And a lot of parents also are focused on their business, so they really don't care what happens to school. My boy has been in a class of, I think, about 28 students or so. And the teacher once told us that only 2 of the parents, that's only my wife and another woman, had ever complained or follow up on what is happening to the children. But the school give them something like a diary to fill on daily basis that the parents are supposed to look at. So they say they feel it, but it doesn't get any feedback, apart from these two people.
But Mr. Olalekun, let's look at this. Before I thought there is a qualification that one needs to attain, and before you can open a school, before you can be a lecturer, before you can be a teacher. I believe there are qualifications. I heard that you need to pass through the education system before you can even own a school. Why now do we have school everywhere? You know, a lot of people opening schools and just using it for business, not minding. Some don't even have supervisors coming to such schools. So why is the government quiet about it?
Well, this thing is basic. Number one, there are people, we have this general consensus. When you ask, go to the ministry and anywhere and ask, they will tell you no fund. So a lot of people believe that when you throw money at issues, then the issues are solved. It's a lie. We are talking here about, now I've worked in an environment where they talk about employing for attitude and training for skill. Once you can read and write, and you have gone to school and have the basic knowledge and you have come, it is not that you have a first class that gives you a job as a service person. It is actually that you are trainable, which is attitude. Trainability is not a skill, it is an attitude thing. So if the attitude and the character is missing, it doesn't matter if he has a first class in education, right? It doesn't matter if he has a first class in education. Bring them in. The chances are that they might not be able to communicate the values to the children. Some of them have gone to school to cram. So it's not, how many people going to NCE today knew exactly that, okay, I'm going there because I want to be a teacher?
No, a lot of funny things happen during teaching practice.
So it's not even the teaching practice, it is that they just don't want to stay at home. So let me gain admission. A lot of people who do education in the university go and check it. Was it the first choice they pick? Maybe you will find 5 out of 100 who possibly genuinely wanted to be a teacher before they got to that department. Others, it is because they have pursued law, they have pursued mass comm, they have pursued engineering, they didn't get it, and they did not want to stay at home. So they never wanted the job from day one, but they will do what is required to pass it. But the ability and the interest is not with them. I remember years back, I once told an education administrator that, look, when he was thinking of employing, I was like, no, they will only recruit people who had BEdu and people who had NCE. I said, sir, you will kill all the school in your state if you do it. He said, what do you mean? He said, majority of those people you are talking about are already frustrated even before they leave the school. Yeah, I'm not saying you should not employ them if they come and they demonstrate quality, but you have better open your door to everybody. Now you're likely going to get some engineering students who will teach, graduates who will teach physics or mathematics better than some NCE holders or some who graduate in education. And that, but because it is those guys' core profession, you have levels and steps. Employ them. Those from education who made it can have steps ahead of those who come from other background at the entry point. But give those who came from outside education who wants to do it, let them have like 2 or 3 years, by which time they should have completed postgraduate diploma in education. That those of them who are interested in teaching will do it, because it is required for them to be on the job. And that because they already have the knowledge that is required to impact the life of the children, that they possibly are going to do better. That was years back, maybe 1999, 2000. Today, some of the people he employed then did not only do the PGD education, they did that, went ahead to do masters in education. Today, many of them are vice principals in that state. They were primarily engineering students, right? Some did some other professional courses. But they had the passion to teach, and they saw opportunity to get there, and they took in and apply their all. Whereas there are some other people who just saw it as an opportunity to earn salary, and they do the minimum that is required to earn salary. So basically, whether it is in the education sector or it is in the health sector, because I think there are supposed to be health facilities in the school, whether each school or cluster of schools. Are they actually there? Are the community health workers actually there? Are they doing the thing, the needful for these children? Do we have toilets that are correct? I've seen school in some other country being closed down because the playing ground was not befitting enough for children of that age. So the process of establishing school, I think, is faulty. The monitoring is faulty. Yes, a lot of people are talking about curriculum and pedagogy and the rest of that. For me, those are the next stage. It doesn't matter how great or beautiful the curriculum is. If the children are sitting on gutter in Jabi Arab or in Pana, and that place stinks, the stinks that they are responding to and the health challenges they are facing does not even permit them to listen to the best of teacher, even if you manage to acquire one and put in their front. So what are we making our children go through? I don't know if it's still happening, but when I served in Benue, I knew I went around some of the villages, and in places like Ante, you see it's a market opposite the road. It's a big tree there, and there is a board nailed to the tree, and there are bamboo. You see the children sitting on the bamboo. Their mothers are in the market behind. They sit under the bamboo tree, and that is their own school.
Wait, which year was that?
That's several years ago, but up till about 2007, I know that was still true of those environments. And at that time, they had a governor who was thinking of one computer per child. And I asked one of the people who speak for the government, that, hey, is it those children that have no classroom over them? When you give them the computer and the rain start, where would they keep it? Where will they even get power to power the computer? Because some of their villages as at that time were without electricity. Even in the city where you have electricity, how regular is the electricity? So when you are not talking about putting proper structure in place for these children to be, you still have children trekking 5 kilometers today to go to secondary school, even in the southwest. Even in the southwest, there are children who have to trek 5 kilometers, 3 to 5 kilometers to get to secondary school. There are students still covering 8 kilometers on the roads that are not safe. And sometimes they get involved with accidents, they die. So we need to begin to look at, how do we establish our school? How do we build capacity of existing school? What are the infrastructures available in them? What are the level of teaching that are being done? What are the qualification of these teachers? A state once said they conducted the primary 4 test, Abi, for teachers, and some teachers failed. The exam that was meant to promote primary 4 students to 5, and teachers went on strike that they were not going to write that exam. But eventually, when they even wrote the exam, it wasn't like they passed. So if you cannot pass primary 4 promotion exam, then what are you doing teaching in the primary school? It behoves a whole lot. It tells you that some of these people, you see some people who tell you they are NC graduate or they are graduates, and you will question that has this one actually ever gone to school? But somehow, they've passed through the school. You see people who will finish NC, will finish this. Okay, what is your email address? He doesn't even have an email in this age and time. Can you use Excel? He said, I don't know how to use the computer. But he's already a graduate. I'm talking of something as close as November last year. I had 30 people to work with me on the project, and I couldn't get one of them who could type or input record in Excel. Not in a village, but in one of the biggest cities in the nation. 30. 7 of them were graduates. Maybe about 8 had NCE. But none of them had ever used the computer to type in Excel. or they can sit on their phone and chat and do TikTok and do all that. But let them just come and do any simple task. But you won't blame them, because some of them never even saw a computer that was open and free for them to use while they were in the university. Elsewhere in the world, students are taught Word. Students are taught, when you get to writing your project, they teach you how to use SPSS, they teach you how to use Excel. But of course, it's because the SPSS has been installed. It's because there are computers that has turned it in. That's why they will tell you to go there and test your project. Here, some schools do not even have a functional computer. As near to us here, you will see libraries in this town that does not have a single computer.
I'm thinking about tech taking over. I think you just made a very valid point when you said there were graduates that couldn't operate the computers. It is one thing for you to know how to open the computers, play games, watch movies, you know, whereas you don't even know how to do plus and minus on Excel. I've had an opportunity to train teachers in Nigeria, and it was so, I don't know whether to call it embarrassment or maybe a surprise to me. It was a surprise when they couldn't identify a browser on their phone. You tell them what is a browser, they don't even know what a browser is. Whether you're talking about Chrome, whether you are talking about Opera, whether you are talking about a Firefox, they don't even know what it is on the system. Some cannot even power a system. You know, I'm talking about secondary school. I deal with secondary school teachers. You know, we had to train secondary school teachers in a state in Nigeria, and that left me with a lot of questions, and I became very interested in the educational sector, because most times we talk about the fact that our graduates are half-baked. We're talking about a Don coming out to talk about distractions, and all these accumulate, and they affect, culminating into something that affects the educational system. We'll go on a quick break. After this break, we'll return, and of course we have our guest in the studio, and we'll talk more about what the federal ministry is doing about this situation, because as a matter of fact, we have people who are supposed to supervise these schools. We have inspectors who are supposed to inspect whatever happened in this school, but we have that running, and who is to be blamed for all these shortcomings that we have in the educational sector. When we return from this break, we'll talk more about that. Stay with us. It is still Global Morning.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues,
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning. Do you know that global television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch global television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to global television.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you. It's good to still have you right there on Global Morning. Well, we've been talking about the health education sector. A lot of people complain about the education sector in Nigeria, have baked graduates, distractions, and a Don has come out to say, well, smartphones need to be banned in schools, secondary schools, tertiary institutions, like we have it already in some private universities, private schools in Nigeria. But my guest in the studio is saying there is more to the problems we have in the educational sector than just banning of smartphones. Do we have alternatives if smartphones will be banned like we have in some advanced countries? All right. Majority of the problems that we have in the education sector comes from the heads themselves, from the head coming down before you even get to the students. The people who are lecturers, the people who are teachers, the people who are instructors, do they really love their job, or they are doing it for doing its sake? How is the schools in Nigeria like? Is it more of a charity work, or it is a business that every Dick and Harry, whether you're qualified or not, will just have to open because you have the money and you can put up a structure? It's so amazing that we're even getting to know today that some of the learning houses, the schools that we have, the places where these teachings go on is not even too conducive for the people. Now, let's get to the Ministry of Education that have the onions to supervise this process, that are saddled with the responsibility of ensuring that the education sector is up and doing. Now, I have with me in the studio an information expert and a public affairs analyst, and he is Gumdo Olamileko. As a matter of fact, now, let's get to the Ministry of Education now, because if you want to say anything about education, the name, if you want to refer to the government, is the Ministry of Education.
Sure.
Now, what's your assessment of the Ministry of Education? How have their impacts been felt so far? Looking at all the areas, the gray areas you actually pointed out, do you think there's anything the Ministry of Education can do, or their hands are tied?
Well, I don't believe their hands are tied. I think that we are in a situation where you would expect that the ministry will live up to its responsibility. Now, let's take a cue. The ministry runs about 104 or thereabout unity schools. The federal government colleges are run directly by the Ministry of Education. It belongs to them. Now, apart from qualification of teachers, so you say the teachers in the 104 colleges are qualified. Maybe I would agree with that. But you now have to look at how safe is the school environment, how good are the hostels, because they are supposed to be fully boarding, except maybe on few special consideration. So how good are the hostels? What meal do you serve the children? What teaching? The teachers are qualified, but they're actually imparting the knowledge. Do we have a better means of measuring that? How standard are the laboratories? Because those are the schools owned by the federal government. So in our opinion, they should become like the, there is a name you call it in manufacturing sales, showroom. They should be the showroom of government policies on secondary education. But if you go around them, are they actually the showrooms? At some point, you say people have to pay for school media because you need to have some labs. But you realize in the end that some of these projects, the conception might look very good. But most times, the brain behind it is looking at the money that is going to come in and be shared under the arrangement. So eventually, it is not, because they will not tell you it's private-public partnership and things like that. So in the name of PPP, a lot of things are done, and in my opinion, are not properly done, and not much questions could be answered. And sometimes the people you have put there in the Cisco lab, where they exist, are possibly not direct employees of the government, and so sometimes they are not people you can fire. And even when you try to complain, it's like the complaint does not go too far, because his own head office is possibly somewhere in Lagos or Ilorin. And that's where he defers to, and that's where he gets his instruction from. So you will therefore want to believe that, look, in terms of the labs, are the labs in our federal unity schools, are they up to the standard that is required? When you have 200 students, how many beakers do you have? How many conical flasks do you have? How many times do these students enter the lab before they get to SS3? And when they go, how many of them work in a group before you can really say they have the independence and will be able to do well when they finish secondary school or when they go to the university? So I think that the ministry needs to sit down, go back and assess your school, do a need assessment vis-a-vis the policy, put it to standard, and then begin to use that to judge other schools. As of today, the Primary Education Board or Basic Education Board in the FCT, for instance, can they tell us how many primary schools, private and public, that are in FCT, licensed or unlicensed, legal or illegal? They should know, because they are supposed to have their feet on ground in these places. But how many booths do they have on ground? And these booths that they have on ground, are they going around the neighborhood checking the school, or they are sitting down in some shops in Wuse Market, or some shops in some plaza around town, and collecting salary at the end of the month? Because if they do, where are the reports? If the schools have been closed or sanctioned, who is going back there to go and check? Because if you have one small cubicle in one corner in Jai, what do you call that place now? In that Banana Island, in Jai Banana Island, you have one small cubicle there and you call it a school. Where is the playing ground for that children? Children under the age of 12, for crying out loud, need a playing ground, because that is part of their learning that they should be getting at that age. Where is the template that you want to establish a school? These are the things you need to go through, and that people should know if your school does not meet those standards and you have students, you actually should be prosecuted for disrupting and making effort to destroy the life of those children. Because if you have brought them up in the wrong way, they will eventually become wrong people. And when the children cross the age of 16, there is a limit to what correction that the society can begin to make. I've actually come to realize, and I'm sure that there are theories that support that from the age of 3 to about 10, the values you instill in children, they don't lose it all through their life. It helps them to stabilize wherever else they get to. But when you have left them in the hand of people who cannot even train them, you left them in the hand of maids and stuffs like that, what you realize in the end is what is the quality of the staff, what is the quality of the helper, what is the quality of the environment where you have raised this child. And then the child grows up. A school that has no toilet, and so they have to do short put, or they have to do open defecation somewhere. No, because you can't keep. And they grow up with that, and then you are now trying to tell them it is wrong. No, the teachers supervised them, the school supervised them, and they did it, and it was like the normal thing to do. So the ministry needs to really sit up, like I said, starting with its own institution. What is the level? Check the libraries, check the labs, check the computer labs, check the teachers. If there is the need, yes, they have the basic qualification to become a teacher, but do they have the character and the attitude? And are they delivering? Are they adding value at their levels?
All right.
If they are not adding, do something about it.
If they are not adding, do something about it. It's not all about just putting people in classroom. They need to be supervised. What are they doing? What kind of knowledge are they impacting? Federal Ministry of Education will need to start the supervision from the federal institutions, the state institutions, before they get to the private. And that's so nice. Many thanks for joining us on the conversation today. It has been a very educating moment. And of course, this is what we do. This is purely human angle. And of course, it has helped us. This is national development, the federal government's role in the education sector. And of course, what lecturers are saying about the usage of smartphone, the distraction it brings, the malpractice, what it does to the students, and whether or not we have an alternative ready if the smartphone would have to be banned. This is the size of Global Morning for today. It has been a very wonderful time. Thank you for joining us from 7 a.m. this morning until now. We'll come on your way again with another edition of Global Morning. But before we bring Global Morning to a close, we'll let you know that there is just a little discussion that the tag team will be bringing on your way, and that's going to be after this break. Stay with us.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues,
and at the same time keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day
well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Yes, it's good to have you right there. The Tag Team Monday, of course. We need to tag out.
We need to tag out, yeah, that's it.
We're tagging out, and of course, it's been a very wonderful time. You'll see why it's necessary, you know, for us to have everything supervised in this country.
Yes, it's very important that we have things supervised in this country for us to move forward, which is important. But at this point, we have to wrap it up on the program Global Morning. Right, Ramsey, my tag team partner.
Yes, this is how far we'll be able to go.
Exactly. And of course, just keep tuning into Global Television. And of course, we have a Global TV app on our iOS devices, on our Play Store, and of course, Apple Store. So you can watch us wherever you are all over the world. And I am Jumai Manson. Thank you all so much for being a part of Global Television and of course, the program Global Morning. And with my very amazing tag team partner, no other person than
Ramsiano Kagbo, it's my name. So beautiful that you are with us. You'll see the tag team again. Don't worry. You definitely don't miss us too much. We'll reach out.
Don't miss us too much. And from Ramsey and I, we will say,
have a beautiful day.
Yes, have a beautiful day. Bye.
Welcome to Global Morning.
Death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure. If you don't say we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
When you call the police station, before they even leave, they take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
the struggle with the ASU strike.
Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a lie. The president never gave me any deadline.